Yo, so these are two completely empty Lego islands in the middle of the ocean, and today we're going to be filling them up with two different armies. There'll be pirates on one island and modern military on the other. We're going to build a bunch of different buildings, vehicles, weapons and much more. And we're going to be simulating a full-on Lego war throughout the video to see which army wins and deserves to get the dub. So to begin our experiment, we need to recruit some minifigs to build the armies. So on this island we're going to have modern military soldiers, and they have a bunch of different uniforms, helmets and body armor. Especially this guy who accidentally thought he was getting ready for a snow mission, so his uniform is all white. Then they're going to need a bunch of guns, so I did some shopping ahead of time and copped all of these weapons that they can use. Then the other island will be filled with an army of pirates, and they'll be using swords, old primitive guns and explosives instead. And they also got this little guy too. But both of the armies are kind of useless if there's no leaders in place. So the military is going to be controlled by this crazy cyborg soldier who goes by the name Sergeant Steel, and he's got a lot of armor on and an actual gun built into his arm. Then the pirates are going to have the 200-year-old Captain Whitebeard. Back in my day we didn't have guns. Yeah, bro's kind of old. Alright, and with all the soldiers ready, both armies decided to secure their islands and they started building a wall around each one. The military built this super strong metal fence, and they also placed loads of barbed wire on the coast to slow down any attackers. On the other side, the pirates managed to assemble this simple wooden fence, and that might seem like a weak defense, but don't let that fool you, because they also cooked up this array of cannons on the shoreline. And next to it, they've got a crate with some ammunition inside of it, so one of the pirates already tried shooting at the military base. But because his aim is whack, he completely missed the other island. So as a punishment, Captain Whitebeard decided to put him on cleaning duty. And Sergeant Steel saw the loose cannonball flying past his island, so he wanted to get his soldiers in the best shape possible and ready for war. And to do that, they built this entire soldier training area, where they can get on the ground and try to crawl under this barbed wire course. Then they also have a pull-up bar. There's also a balance beam that you have to walk across without falling, and the big heavy tire that the soldiers have to try and flip over. And lastly, they also decided to make this mini-golf area, which will help them improve their hand-eye coordination. Yeah, bro literally joined the army to play mini-golf. And while the soldiers were grinding hard, the pirates decided to make their own training camp too, which includes some glass bottles that they can shoot at to improve their aim. They also have these wooden dummies so they can practice using their swords. Then there's this rope climb to simulate climbing up a ship. And finally, they have this heavy treasure chest that they can lift. Alright, so now both armies are going ham and trying to gain as much skill and strength as possible. And the military also started building this big watchtower. The pirates saw that and they copied them, and built this wooden tower instead. So now the two armies were basically doing a staring contest. And while that was going on, some soldiers used a boat to get across to the other island, and they kidnapped one of the pirates and took him away. And no one even noticed what just happened. And instead, the pirate army decided to keep expanding the base. So they started building this big armory. Inside you can find a lot of rifles, guns, swords, and even dynamite on the wall, along with some extra crates on the floor. And the whole place is secured by this big metal gate with a lock on it. But over on the other island, the military decided to use the blueprints that they had for a tank design. So they gathered the big brain soldiers and got to work. Alright, and while I build this tank, you need to download World of Tanks. It's a free-to-play game where you can experience action-packed battles and drive hundreds of different historically accurate tanks. They all come in different sizes, all of them have unique mechanics, and there's tanks from loads of different countries. And you decide how you want to play the game. You can experiment with different tactics to see what works. You could either rush your way through everything and crash into your enemies, or be a bit more chilled out and snipe tanks from far away. Or you could work together with your squad and plan a sneak attack. In this game, there's always a new way to play and spice things up. There's also so many different huge maps that you can experience battles on. You can drive your tanks through hills, forests, deserts, fields. You'll legit never get bored of the terrain. And you can also earn experience with each battle and upgrade your tank to make it even better for next time. So download World of Tanks today and use my invite code COMBAT to unlock a bunch of goodies in the game. And if you're a new player, you're going to get a free premium tank, a lot of credits that you can spend in the game, a free premium account for a whole week, and 3 different special tank rentals that you can use for 10 battles each. So click the link in the description below and go destroy your ops on the battlefield today. Alright, it's time to take the tank out for a quick test drive. Yeah, the pirates stand no chance against this bad boy. Oh, never mind, looks like they already got the tank stuck in the ocean. So the pirates wanted to use this chance to attack, and they aimed their cannons and shot at the tank. Yeah, well, that didn't last long. So the military decided to build up more defenses, and they ended up making this concrete bunker where soldiers can use the opening to shoot at the pirates while staying protected. They also made this drone pad with a massive military drone on it, but they'll need electricity to actually use it. So they also built some power generators and made sure to build some thick armor walls around it, along with a strong metal door. So now they can actually use the military drone and fly it over to the pirates. And now they've got aerial intel of the whole operation. The pirates saw this and tried throwing some bottles at it, but they kept missing the drone. So yeah, it just stayed chilling in the air. And both armies kept training until everyone was tired and they needed to get some sleep. So the military built this wooden house and placed a massive bed inside of it. And to save some space, the soldiers will just have to share it. They also have some lockers inside for personal storage. Hey, yo, what is bro putting in there? Then the roof is finished off with these tiles. And just like that, they have a safe place to sleep. But the pirates, on the other hand, decided to take a bit more chilled out approach. So they planted these 2 big palm trees on their island and then used this sideways building technique and bent the pieces into place to make this Lego hammock. You can't lie, lie, that was really satisfying to watch. Then they can use some chain pieces to hang the hammock to the trees, and just like that, they've got this really comfy place to sleep. Yeah, they'll just have to take turns using it because it's only big enough for one minifig. So the rest of the pirates decided to use this time to their advantage and quickly built this wooden dock. Then they jumped on a boat and swam across to the military base, where they carefully snuck through the barbed wire, and they kidnapped 2 soldiers that fell asleep and left a little surprise in the bunker. The army base alarm started going and the soldiers quickly ran out, and they started shooting hoping to hit the boat, but it was already too late because the pirates managed to get away. And back at their island, they built this small prison and threw the military boys inside. They literally just have a really hard wooden bed with an old yellow pillow to sleep on and the toilet next to it. But hey, at least they've got some metal bars that they can look out of. But Sergeant Steele got really mad, and he decided it was time to fully upgrade his base. So they built a proper medic building with all the equipment you need to heal minifig soldiers. Then they also made this storage area so they can stock up on food and weapons. It's also got some leaves on the top to camouflage it. They also built an actual time machine to try and bring back some soldiers from the future. Yo, I think they went in time in the wrong direction and accidentally brought back some Victorian soldiers. They can still help, I guess. And lastly, they built this small command post where Sergeant Steele can use his big brain and come up with better tactics to lead his army. And during all of this chaos, the pirate hostage managed to simply walk out of the base without being spotted, and he just went to chill with the sea turtles on the beach instead, waiting to get rescued by his boys. But in the meantime, it didn't take long for Sergeant Steele to come up with a new plan. So he gathered his best engineers and they started building a military mech. And while all of this was going on, the pirates stayed busy too, and they ended up making their own cave, which is used to store this big chest full of gold coins inside of it, because we all know pirates love their treasure more than anything. So they're even gonna have a couple of guys constantly guarding it. And the other thing they built was this wooden hut, which is basically where Captain Whitebeard will spend most of his time looking at this map next to a human skull which belonged to his last enemy. There's also a steering wheel from his old ship attached to the front. Anyway, bro's cooking up a new tactic right now, so we'll let him think. And on the other island, the army has just finished building the brand new mech. It's fully made out of really strong metal. It's got loads of guns attached to it, and it can actually swim. Yeah, this thing is a proper war machine that's ready for battle. And one of the pirates on the watchtower saw this beast, so he instantly sprinted down and ran to let Captain Whitebeard know. But bro also cooked, and he managed to summon this army of ghost pirates. They're basically hundreds of years old, and they are not friendly at all. So Captain Whitebeard has ordered them to go across to the other island and fight the military. And their defenses that they built were kinda useless because they just floated through the barbed wire. So the soldiers tried firing all of the guns at the ghosts, but the bullets were just flying through them without doing any damage. So Sergeant Steele ordered the mech to go and destroy the pirate island. And while he made his way through the sea, the ghosts were haunting the whole army, and all of the soldiers basically hid inside of the barracks. But on the other island, the mech started shooting down his ops and destroying their buildings as much as he could. The pirates tried hitting it with swords, but bro's literally made out of metal. They also tried firing guns at it, but bro's bulletproof. So they decided to ditch the island for now and jumped on the wooden boats as they watched the entire base get destroyed, while the mech ripped open the prison doors to let out the soldiers. But it wasn't all good news for the military either, as the pirate ghosts have started destroying more of the buildings now too. So the soldiers trapped inside of the barracks decided to escape through the windows, and they ran to the boats so they can escape the island. So now both armies basically ended up with nothing but small boats in the middle of the ocean. But Sergeant Steele and Captain Whitebeard didn't want to give up that easily, so they started ramming their own boats into each other as hungry sharks circled the water. But suddenly both of the boats fully collapsed, and both leaders ended up in the open ocean. But don't worry, because these sharks are actually vegetarians. So now both armies are left without leaders, so they don't really have a reason to fight anymore. So I guess it's up to you to decide who actually won this Lego war. Oh yeah, and this is what happened to that pirate hostage who managed to escape. Yeah, bro waited for a bit too long. But yeah, we built some really cool things in this video, and I really hope you enjoyed watching it.